Welcome to the book of Job. Now, this book probably contains some of your favorite chapters in the Bible. 38 and 39 are amazing, but it probably also has some of your least favorite. 25 chapters of dense Hebrew poetic dialogue, that's no fun. And then there's these curious exchanges between Satan and God in the opening of the book. And the book as a whole, it deals with the critically important question of why do the innocent suffer? Now, the book opens long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, not really, but it might as well have. The book opens, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Now, Uz is far, far away from Israel. And Job is not a Jewish name. He's not Hebrew. So what we have in this book is a Jewish book about non-Jews who lived long ago far away. Now, this Jewish book is a wisdom book. And what did we learn about wisdom, about Chokmah, from our study of the book of Proverbs? Well, Chokmah is the thread that God has woven into the moral universe, the system of cause and effect relationships that he has wired into creation, such that if we submit to God's wisdom and go with the grain of the universe, things will go well for us and we will be blessed. And man, was that working out for Job. The opening 5 verses of this book teach us that Job was righteous and rich. Let's check it out. All right, Job. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And what does the narrator tell us about Job? Well, he was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and turned away from evil. What does God say about him? Have you considered my servant Job? He is a blameless and an upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. Now, what does Job's actions say about him? Well, he was so righteous and so full of integrity that he would even offer sacrifices for his children on the off chance that, maybe they sin. Just in case, I'll offer some sacrifices for him. And what was the result of all of Job's righteousness? Well, God just lavished blessing on this guy. He had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen and donkeys. He was the greatest person of all the people in the East. Now, Job, he embodies for us this iconic wise person who is experiencing the benefits of living out the book of Proverbs. Job is our Proverbs man. So we're not surprised that God is proud of this guy, Job. He's like, man, Job is legit. However, Satan is not so sure. And this is kind of where the story gets a little bit weird. Let's check it out in verse 6. Now, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Now, you're going to learn in your theology classes about something called the divine council, which is where God invites all of the angelic beings to come with him into his control room, where he discusses with them matters down on earth. And for some reason, Satan is with them on this day. And God says to Satan, hey, have you considered my servant Job? This guy is legit. No one is like him. And Satan, he is the adversary. He is the opponent. He is the accuser. That's what his name means. Ha-Satan, the accuser. And so he is going to put God on trial. That's what's going on in the first 2 chapters of Job. Satan puts God on trial. And he says, does Job fear God for no reason? You've protected him. You've blessed everything that he has. Your policy, God, of blessing the righteous, of rewarding them, it is counterproductive to producing genuine righteousness. It corrupts their motives. God, you're doing the whole thing wrong, Satan says. If you train a dog not to bark by giving him a treat, the moment you take that treat away, he's just going to bark his little head off. And God says, you know what? You're wrong. My creatures are learning to love me and to love righteousness. and there's no one better than Job. You have my permission. You can take my blessings away from him. And so this sequence, this conversation between Satan and God, it's going to happen twice. Let's see how it's patterned. Job is just so intricately designed. It's really an amazing work of literature to read. So let's scroll down here, and I've got these things color-coded for you, so it should be easy to see the parallels. Now again, I said that there's two columns. There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. Satan was there. The Lord said to Satan, where have you been? Satan said, hey, I've been going around the earth, walking up and down on it. God said, hey, have you seen my servant Job? He's super legit. Satan answers the Lord and says, yeah, not really. I propose a test. Stretch out your hand and touch all that he has. And what will he do? He will curse you to your face. Forget about his righteousness. God says, yeah, I don't think so. I trust my servant Job more than you do. The Lord says, behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only do not, in this case, do not kill him. Spare his life. And so here in purple, Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Same exact pattern here in both chapters. It's pretty neat. So what does Satan do? What does Job's test involve? Well, all of Job's wealth in the form of livestock, oxen, donkeys, sheep, cattle, they're all taken away. They're either killed, destroyed by a storm, or stolen. And then his children. He has 7 sons and 3 daughters. They're all killed on a single day. And then in chapter 2, when Job says, skin for skin, all that man has, he'll give for his life, Job is struck by these sores, these horribly painful sores all over his body. How is Job going to respond to all of this suffering, this innocent suffering that came out of nowhere? Well, look down here in green. The pattern in these 2 chapters continues. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And then in chapter 2, shall we receive good and not receive evil? And the narrator's conclusion, his assessment, in all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. God's policy of blessing the righteous, his Chokmah Proverbs intention for wiring the universe this way, it is vindicated. God's hero succeeds. And we're going to hear no more from the villain for the rest of the book. He's no longer our concern. But in a slight twist, God's hero, Job, now it's his turn to put God on trial. Satan tried it in chapters 1 and 2. Now Job is going to try and put God on trial. He's suffering miserably, isn't he? And his friends are going to show up. 3 friends here at the end of chapter 2. And at first, man, they're great. They just, for 7 days, they sit in silence with their buddy Job and mourn with him. But then, here in 3 to 27, the court proceedings begin. And the 4 of them, Job and his 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, they begin to discuss the justice of God. By what policy does God run the universe? And more to Job's point, is God doing it wrong? Well, there's this back and forth dialogue for 25 chapters here, and it's all carefully designed. Now, you see the book as a whole, it opens with a prologue in 1 to 2 and an epilogue here in 42:7 to 17. But then this large section, this dialogue section, has 3 cycles. You see this? The first one here in 4 to 14, where it opens with a statement by Eliphaz. In this case, it's in chapters 4 and 5. And then Job responds to that statement by Eliphaz. And then Bildad, he's got something to say, and then Job responds, and then Zophar, and then Job responds again, and then we have another cycle, same thing, Eliphaz, Bildad, Zophar. And the third cycle breaks down a little bit. It's only Eliphaz and Bildad. So that's our structure here for their dialogues. And this section is going to open with a lament here in chapter 3, where Job curses the day of his birth. Why did I not die in the womb? Why did the knees receive me? Why did my eyes ever see the light? And then he has a closing statement in chapter 27. Now, matching these three cycles of dialogue here in 3 to 27 are three monologues, three speeches, three longer speeches in 29 to 41. Job's going to have a speech. Then we have this mysterious character, Elihu. He's got a speech. And then, of course, what we all love most, God's speech here in 38 to 41. But then, right at the center of the whole book, chapter 28 is this mysterious poem about wisdom. And it doesn't appear to be in any of our characters' voice. It seems like the narrator is speaking here in chapter 28, and he has a word to say about wisdom. Now, that's a lot to cover, and we're going to listen in on Job's dialogue with his friends, or his argument with his friends, next.